I do remember a particular moment. When I first started using it, it was just some new thing, didn't, whatever. But a few months later, we were in the studio in Wales in the countryside. And I was bending down, I was making all these animal noises, and all the cows came up. The cows were like, we like this. What is this? We like this. And kind of paid homage to what was happening. They were like, yes, as representatives of nature, the cows went, good, it's true. The early version of My Bloody Valentine used a Tascam 4-track. I used to make weird backing tapes and stuff and weird shit and really just messing around. And it was sort of somewhere between a birthday party, Einsters and Neubauten, and some sort of weird tape-based sort of drone thing. Then we started getting more and more into sort of garage rock. We were very much into the Cramps.
Whenever I am near you, whenever I get close to you.
The records that we made in 87 were really not representative of what we really felt like we were about. And we started to really change, and we started to play those songs much more aggressively and much more carefree about attitude towards the singing. I had seen the Ramones, and that was like insanely loud and hugely powerful. And I didn't know what the hell was going on at one point. It took me a while to adjust to what was happening. And also there was a lot of bands back in those days doing some crazy shit, like from The Cure to Susie and the Banshees, Killing Joke, Public Image, especially that song Public Image. That era was full of real guitar experimenting stuff. So that all gelled together to make us sort of write songs, more sort of, they were nearly 60s-ish bass, but sort of darker. That was kind of the big turning point. I particularly remember doing a song called All I Need on Is It Anything. I was doing this part where it was going, like going really down, like really. And I just remember thinking, I think, has anyone ever done this before? The engineer that we had, he was going, nope. He wasn't trying to be original per se. We were happily influenced on that record by Sonic Youth and Dinosaur Jr. And we were happily just sort of showing all the things we loved, Around the time of Isn't Anything, for sure, it was very much about the newness of things. Hip-hop was new, and the raw, really good new guitar bands were coming out. It was just like, it was a real freshness, real attitude of not compromising, By the time Loveless, for us, it also represented the whole transcendence thing. It was like ecstasy and smoking a lot of pot and just like basically being kind of connecting to other worlds as well at the same time, but yet still being very grounded in something quite strong. So it was this balancing act. It came into its own as a record really by weird coincidence of the fact that it was the end of the 20th century, funny enough, and people were doing all these polls of the best records. It started appearing everywhere, because people had lived with it for 4 or 5 years by that point. Then it became apparent that it really connected with a lot of people. That's what it's about, music, I think, is connecting. After we did what we did in 88, 89, 1990, and that kind of period, these EPs and from Isn't Anything to Loveless, it definitely established this idea that a guitar didn't have to sound like a guitar. I remember very much this weird conversation with a guy a long time ago. He was like, I want to be Michael Jackson, but you want to be Velvet Underground. I was like, yeah. I loved the fact that the Velvet Underground could do what they want. I did want to be a band that had that freedom to do that.